Hey guys, it's Tash here from 5 Minutes to 5. Welcome to my channel where we discuss all things financial independence, and today,
Before we get started, please note these videos do not constitute financial advice. If you're in need of financial advice, please contact a registered financial advisor. Let's get started.
One really big expense is personal income tax, and personal income tax was addressed in this year's budget speech. I think there were a lot of expectations that the budget speech would probably increase the personal income tax, but basically the opposite happened. It was very strange, but we're so excited about it. So let's get into it. So the budget speech that was presented today affects the tax year that begins on the 1st of March 2021 until the 28th of February 2022. So it's essentially the 2022 year of assessment. Can get a bit confusing. I hope I've helped clear that up. There's a little bit of confusion, I think, for some people because the minister said there would be a 5% increase in rebates and taxable income brackets, which would mean you're paying less tax. And I think people just heard increase, decrease, what? So let's break it down. I'm going to break it down. Foremost, starting with the rebate. Now, a rebate is essentially like a refund that you get on your taxable income, and you literally just get it by virtue of being a human being. So there are rebates for individuals, and these rebates that you get have increased by 5%, which means that you're able to deduct an extra 5%. This is the positive thing because that means you're paying less tax. In terms of the actual numbers, if you are less than 65 years of age, you previously got a rebate of 14,958 Rand, and now your rebate is 15,714 Rand. So there's a little bit of a saving there. The next area that I'd like to speak about is tax thresholds. Now, a tax threshold basically says that if you earn this amount or less, you don't need to pay taxes. You don't need to go through this whole rigmarole, right? So they've also increased that amount by 5%. So that means that previously, if you earned 83,100 Rand or less, you didn't have to pay taxes. That is now increased to 87,300 Rand. So if you earn 87,300 Rand or less, you don't need to pay tax. So that is a really positive thing. It means more people will be below the tax threshold, and that we call tax relief. The third one is sort of the one that's very complicated to explain, and that has to do with the tax brackets. Now, the way we calculate tax is on a sliding scale, and so you'll see that there are brackets in which you fall in, and that will determine sort of the amount of tax that you're going to pay. And essentially, what has happened is the tax rates have stayed the same. Those have not been adjusted. So you may have seen on my Instagram reel that taxes didn't increase or decrease. What happened was the actual brackets or the buckets have been shifted higher. So what does that basically mean? You have to make more to fall into a higher bracket and get taxed more. That's a really positive thing because basically if your income stays exactly the same but the brackets have shifted higher, you're going to be paying less tax. These brackets shifted by 5%. So this is 1% higher than inflation. So even if you got an inflationary increase at work, which was probably around 4%, you're going to be paying less tax than you would have been if you were using the last year's taxable income sliding scales. So the sliding scales can be a little bit confusing. So I think it's always useful to use a practical example. So I've done a little example here. If you earned 350,000 Rand, then you would have fallen into the third tax bracket. And based on the 2020 sliding scale, sorry, the 2021 sliding scales, you would have paid tax of 74,948 Rand. Now on these new sliding scales where the brackets have been moved 5% higher, you're only paying 74,314 Rand of tax. So you're paying less tax, but also the 5% increase in the brackets means that it is 5% harder for you to fall into a new tax bracket and be paying more. What does that mean? So, like I said, if you're earning 350,000 Rand, you're in the third tax bracket where over and above a certain amount, you're paying about 31% tax. If you move into the fourth bracket, there's a set amount plus 36% tax on the remainder. So previously, based on the 2021 year of assessment, to get into the fourth tax bracket, you would have to make 445,101 Rand. Now, with the new tax bracket, you'll have to make 467,501 Rand. So that's an extra 22,400 Rand that you'll need to be earning in order to move into that new tax bracket. So that's again how we can look at this relief situation. Overall, it was a surprise and it was positive for us. The most important thing in order to achieve our financial independence, though, is to use that tax relief for our benefit that is going to be sustainable. So investing it long term or paying off debt so that you can start to focus on investing long term. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you again on a different 5 minutes to 5 video.